Things got heated in the automotive world recently when Matt Armstrong attempted to order service parts for his Bugatti Veyron and ran straight into a wall. After his well-documented battle with Bugatti over Chiron parts, Matt had reason to believe the Veyron would be different. The Chiron refusal had been justified by Bugatti on safety grounds, the argument being that independent garages simply weren't equipped to handle repairs on such a complex, high-stakes machine. Mate Rimac even made a public video reinforcing that position, claiming specialized facilities were essential for Chiron servicing. But the Veyron? That's a complete, functional car. No crash damage. No structural work required. Just routine maintenance on a vehicle that, while extraordinary, has been on the road for nearly 2 decades. Matt's logic was straightforward. If Bugatti's only excuse for refusing Chiron parts was safety, then that excuse doesn't apply here. The Veyron is a known quantity. There's nothing unsafe about an experienced independent workshop servicing one. So Matt drew up a comprehensive parts list, everything needed for a proper major service. Spark plugs, oil filters, drain plug crush washers, a major service kit, gearbox pump and accumulators, front differential oil, Haldex service components, under tray bolts, interior trim pieces, and the speed key, the second key that unlocks the Veyron's full 1001 horsepower and raises the top speed ceiling to 260 miles per hour. Without it, the car is capped at 850 horsepower and a reduced top speed. It's not a cosmetic item. It's a fundamental part of what you paid for. A Bugatti dealer quotes around $20,000 for a full Veyron major service. Matt's plan was to order the parts directly from Bugatti, do the work independently, and complete the same service for a fraction of that cost. Sensible, logical, completely reasonable for someone who owns the car outright and simply wants to maintain it on their own terms. The first call went to Bugatti London, the flagship UK dealership. An automated system answered. Matt left his name and the reason for his call. Then he waited. No callback. No follow-up. Just silence. For the owner of a £1 million vehicle trying to spend money with the manufacturer, getting transferred to voicemail and never hearing back is a telling sign of how Bugatti views independent ownership. Matt moved on to Bugatti Manchester. This time, someone actually answered and transferred him to the parts department. Progress? Or so it seemed. The parts representative was polite. But what he said stopped Matt cold. The car would have to be on site for any parts to be ordered. And not just present, the service would have to be carried out by Bugatti themselves. The parts would never leave their facility. Matt pushed for clarification. Could he bring the car in, have the parts ordered, and then take everything away to complete the work himself? The answer was unambiguous. The car comes in, Bugatti does the service, and that's the only option on the table. Let that sink in for a moment. Bugatti isn't refusing to sell parts. They're selling parts, technically, but only under the condition that they also do all the work, at their facility, at their prices. The parts never reach the owner's hands. They never reach an independent specialist. They go straight from Bugatti's stock into Bugatti's workshop, and you receive an invoice for the privilege. This is a meaningfully different strategy from what they deployed with the Chiron. With the Chiron, Bugatti's position was at least honest. They said outright that they wouldn't support independent repairs, citing safety concerns. You could disagree with that reasoning, and many people did, but at least you knew exactly where you stood. There was no ambiguity. The Veyron policy is more calculated. By technically offering to sell parts, Bugatti insulates itself from any future right-to-repair challenge. The EU's upcoming right-to-repair legislation requires manufacturers to make parts available to owners and independent repairers. Bugatti's response appears to be, fine, we'll sell the parts, but only if we're also the ones installing them. It's a loophole dressed up as compliance. The letter of the law, arguably satisfied. The spirit of it, completely undermined. An owner who complains that Bugatti refused to sell parts will be told that Bugatti offered to sell them all along, just with conditions attached that made independent repair impossible. That's a much harder position to argue against publicly or legally, which is precisely the point. Matt identified what's really going on. Once a Veyron is out of its warranty period, Bugatti has a captive audience. Owners who want to keep their cars properly maintained with genuine manufacturer parts have no alternative pathway. They can't take a parts list to a trusted independent specialist and have the work done there. They can't order components online and service the car in their own workshop. Every time the car needs attention, Bugatti has to be involved, and Bugatti knows it. The speed key situation makes this even more complicated. Unlike filters, gaskets, or mechanical components, the speed key genuinely requires Bugatti's involvement. It needs to be coded and programmed specifically to the car, and that's not something that can be replicated independently or sourced through the aftermarket. To get the key, Matt will eventually have to bring the Veyron to Bugatti, pay up front, and wait for the key to arrive before they program it, a process that takes no more than an hour once everything is in place. But here's the problem with that. The moment that car arrives at a Bugatti facility, they have access to it. They can inspect it. They can flag work they believe needs doing. They can apply pressure, subtle or otherwise, to have additional services carried out while the vehicle is already there. Bringing the car in for a 1-hour key coding job creates an opening for Bugatti to turn that visit into something far more expensive. And the owner, having already made the trip, is in a weaker position to push back. Matt's response to all of this was exactly what you'd expect. He's not taking the car to Bugatti, not for the service, and not on principle. The Veyron will be serviced independently, the same way the Chiron rebuild was handled, by sourcing parts through alternative channels, cross-referencing components with VAG group equivalents, and fabricating or sourcing what can't be found through official routes. This is more achievable with the Veyron than many people assume. Because the car shares a significant number of components with Audi and Volkswagen Group vehicles, a substantial portion of what's needed for routine maintenance can be sourced through standard supplier networks. Oil filters, drain plug washers, gaskets. These aren't Bugatti-exclusive parts. The gearbox pump and accumulators that Bugatti replaces as a matter of course during major services can potentially be repaired or sourced independently. Interior trim can be fabricated or found through the market for parted-out Veyrons. The speed key remains the one genuine exception, and Matt accepts that he'll need to deal with Bugatti directly for that specific item. Everything else, Bugatti loses. Instead of capturing $20,000 or more in service revenue, they receive nothing. Their policy of using parts access as a lever to force dealership servicing has, in this case, produced the opposite result. Matt will spend that money elsewhere, on independent specialists, alternative suppliers, and fabricated solutions, and document the entire process publicly. That last part matters. By filming and publishing every step of this, Matt is doing something manufacturers would prefer didn't happen. He's making the policy visible. He's showing exactly how the forced service model works in practice, what it costs owners, and how it can be navigated. Every Veyron owner who watches this video now understands what to expect when they call Bugatti's parts department. And every manufacturer watching this knows that these strategies don't stay hidden. The broader concern here is precedent. Bugatti occupies a niche position in the market, ultra-low production volumes, extraordinarily wealthy clientele, a level of exclusivity that most manufacturers will never approach. But the strategy they're deploying isn't exclusive to that niche. The logic of technically complying with parts access requirements while structurally preventing independent repair is something any manufacturer could adopt. If it works for Bugatti, others will be paying attention. Right-to-repair advocates have long argued that selling parts isn't enough if the conditions attached to that sale make independent repair practically impossible. Bugatti has handed them a precise, real-world example of exactly that argument playing out. The parts are technically available. The repair is functionally impossible without going through the dealer. The outcome for the owner is identical to an outright refusal, except it's much harder to challenge. Matt Armstrong walked into this expecting a straightforward conversation about ordering service components for his car. What he found instead was a carefully constructed system designed to ensure that Bugatti retains control over every aspect of Veyron maintenance, indefinitely, regardless of whether the warranty is active or the owner's preferences. The car may be his. The maintenance decisions, Bugatti has decided, are theirs. He's not accepting that. And now, neither will anyone else who watches this.